Hope all of you are doing well. Now, before we proceed with today's module, can I just remind all those of you who have not sent in your assignments, can you please do so ASAP? Jangan tunggu lama-lama ya. Nanti melambat-lambat pula and then tak boleh buat. So, please start working on it and just get it off your hands. Because if you keep it, then it's going to be a problem. I'm just concerned once the other trainers start giving you stuff to do as well, and then the coaching sessions start, you may not be able to finish what I've given you to do. So please get it off your hands, send it off to me. All right, thank you. Now, today, technically this is my last class with you. So I'm going to be taking you into talent management and development, or talent development and management. All right. 1 second, please. Guys, can you give me a second? Colin, you need to give me a second.
Sure, sure.
I have got someone. I had to collect something outside, sorry. Okay. Now, we're going to be touching on talent management. Now, before I go into definitions proper, just like to share with you. Now, all of us have got different talents. That's why we have come this far. I disagree with people who tell me that they do not possess any talents, because there's no such thing. All of us come with talents. It's just that it is not tapped. And of course, there's also this struggle that we have. We don't even have the right people sometimes with us to help us tap into that potential, that talent that we have. So as entrepreneurs, as business owners, if you're heading towards, a generation where you are having youngsters with you, or even people who are already with you for some years, and even if it's you, I'm inviting you to recognize talent first before even venturing into what talent management is about. Because if you cannot recognize talent in your own self, I don't think you can help anyone else with talent, and you won't be able to see talent in other people as well. So my starting point for today would be to tell you, please recognize talent, the talents that you have, that exist within you. It could be one, it could be even more than one. Okay. So let that be our trigger point for today as we go into talent management. So we're talking about talent management here. We're looking at capability and skills to attract. Of course, if you are looking at anything today, we want capability, we want skills to attract, to develop, most important to retain. This is our greatest challenge, to retain and obtain the maximum performance of the most critical and decisive professions for a company by means of differentiated management practices to meet current and future business objectives. I'm reading this to you because the definition needs to be understood. But the key words here, I would always look at retaining and obtaining the maximum performance. Okay. Most of the time we do this. we say that it's only for critical positions that we look at talent management. But I'm telling you now, every position is critical. I'm not talking about MNCs and stuff like that. Leave those companies out of the picture. But as SMEs, every talent is critical if you want to grow your business. So how do we keep people? How do we attract them? Now, attracting them is a challenge because today most people, even youngsters, from experience, I've had students that I've lectured. During lectures, they are so busy trading online. They've started off their own companies and they are what, 19, 20 years old, and they're already in business. So they want to be self-employed. They want to do their own stuff. So they are attracted to something else. Now, how do we get them to work for us? These are things that we need to study, and we need to see how we can collaborate with them. And you need to get down to their level as well. So that attraction part there. Hiring them. Uh, you may notice that even hiring them today, when they come for interviews and stuff like that, please don't ask them these questions like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? These are questions that I think, please face them out. Because if you actually ask these youngsters today, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? They may just turn around and tell you sitting in your position. Okay, I can share an experience with you because I did a consultancy job for a company. This was just about 2 years back. And we interviewed candidates. Okay, we interviewed candidates for an HR exec's position. And I structured the questions and I sat in together with the HR director and the HR manager, and I told the both of them, please do not ask questions which will trigger. I said, and please don't ask this 5 years, 10 years, where do you see yourself now and all that. But somewhere along the line, somehow, the HR manager, she opened her mouth and she asked this question. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? She asked him. And he responded saying, sitting in your position. Okay. He just told her, sitting in your position. Now, of course, she was taken aback and she said, she felt that he was rude and stuff like that. But if you ask me, no, he wasn't rude. I think he was just being honest. All right. Because he's looking for an opportunity. He's just trying to build himself. Of course, she was very annoyed by it. And what happened was, I think, yeah, they eventually employed him. And within 2 years, within 1.5 to 2 years, now he detected her flaws. He noticed where she was actually erring in her judgments in whatever that she was doing. Eventually, he took the lead. He pointed out to management that she's not really the right person for the job, and got her out of the company. And till today, he is now the HR manager. Um, it's interesting to note how people can actually do this, but this is how it is. So be mindful, even as SMEs, if you're interviewing candidates, you're taking in youngsters, even interns, they're a handful, but how you manage them, that's important. Don't handle them. When you say handle, you'll have a lot of challenges. Learn to manage them. Okay. So that's on the hiring bit, just sharing a little bit on that. Of course, we also want to look at how to develop them. So it's not just about coming to work and going back home, but you need to offer them some career path that they need to see that they're going somewhere with you. All right. So that development needs to be done. Training. Please send them for whatever trainings that you get, opportunities that you get, or even in-house, just to coach them, to mentor them, and lead them in a certain direction. And last, of course, but to retain them as well. Okay, retaining them, this is the greatest challenge because there's so much of competition outside, number one. Number two, they prefer to work for themselves. So what are you going to do differently to retain them? These are my questions to you today. So when we talk about talent management, here you go. Now, of course, you look at the organizations, all your organizations are different. It's not the same. So you need to define what's your organization's identity. What is it that you're actually doing? All right. Um, what kind of a person are you looking for? What kind of staff strength are you looking for? And what are you expecting from them? It's again, I will also tell you, um, if we're looking at candidates coming with first class honors, 10 A's, yeah, it's an amazing thing. But at times you get candidates who have got first class honors, 10 A's, but they can't perform on the job. Okay, not all, but there have been occasions because they're book smart, but they're not street smart. So we have got challenges with this as well. So a lot of things that you guys need to start considering as we move along, right? Translate your vision into talent requirements. So when you see your own vision, your mission, at least you know how to transfer that into some form of talent requirement. What do we mean by talent requirement? What do you need? What kind of talent are you looking for? Okay, what kind of people are you looking for to work with you? Not to work for you. We also need to correct ourselves in this aspect. Not to work for you. If you drive this across to everyone saying, come work for me, this is another thing. Come and work with me. Better choice of words, easier to manage. All right. Align your talent management processes. You have to have this, how you're going to acquire these talents, how you're going to manage them, align them with the necessary job prospects that you have within your organization. I encourage you to take in interns. Why? Because as SMEs, we may be, um, you know, there may be some financial constraints in terms of salary, in terms of benefits and stuff like that. So there are lots of interns out there who are looking for, opportunities. Take them in. All right. Even if you can't pay them much, give them an opportunity. Because most of the time when I talk to a lot of youngsters, they tell me this. Um, we apply for jobs, they say you must have at least 2 years experience, 3 years experience, but nobody gives us the opportunity. So how do we get the experience? So keeping that thought in mind, I'm encouraging you, look out for interns. Start. Okay, and of course measure and evaluate how they perform on the job. um, you must have a proper measuring tool as well. You can set KPIs for them. You can, but just also ensure that your KPIs are not too heavy for them to manage. Okay, because once they come out, not all of them are ready to handle things. So unless you've taken in someone who has got exposure, then it's a different story. But if you're looking at interns, this is a different ball game altogether. But you can mold them. So this is a good opportunity for you to think as well, because there are lots of interns out there looking, as I said earlier, lots of them who are looking for opportunities. You may want to consider and take them in. All right. Just my 2 cents worth on that. Now, the talent management process itself, we look at the workforce planning. Okay, what does the workforce actually offer? All right, what do you offer? Make sure it is something worthwhile, and you be sure of what you're offering as well. All right, and then when you're recruiting, of course, there are processes involved in the recruiting. Getting them on board, you have to have some form of sessions for them. You need to brief them, debrief them on what is expected from them, and how are their roles aligned to the organization's mission, vision. How are they going to interact in that sense, in that nature? Okay, and then of course, looking at performance management, that's another area, of course, that you want to grow. Training and giving performance support. training is very necessary. Today, more than ever, I think more and more people are beginning to recognize training, and you need to know how to use systems. You need to be IT savvy. Otherwise, you cannot survive today. Okay, and this pandemic has taught us even more concerning this. All right, you need to be IT savvy. You need to learn how to use systems. A lot of people, I think all of us in here also were forced to do a lot of things because circumstances forced us, pushed us to do this. Okay, and even look at the class today. Uh, some of you are scattered all over the place. Some of you are from East Malaysia, all right, and you are in this class. So, what are we doing differently today? All right, and giving the necessary performance support if they are not faring well on the job. How do we address this to them? How do we approach them? You have to be very tactful also with dealing with people. So if you want to retain talent, first and foremost, this thing about I'm the boss, you're the employee, I talk, you listen, um, it's not going to work anymore. Our approach needs to change. We need to be very tactful with the kind of words that we use, because resignations will just come in, they just walk out. For them, it's nothing. They don't have a sense of commitment. As long as they don't have a sense of commitment, you lose talent in this way. All right. And for them, even if they don't have a job, they just walk out. This is what's happening today. And if you take in people who have already been in the industry, who have worked for years, for decades, and if you take them in, of course, they come with experience. Uh, Truth be told, they come with experience. They also come wanting a better salary package, a better remuneration. So if you are ready to give that, then it's not an issue. Okay, so you may want to consider this. Succession planning. Now, this we actually do. So if you're having someone who is head of finance, if you have grown your company, if you've got someone who's head of finance, finance director, and all this, these are all critical positions. You need to do succession planning because you need to get someone else ready in the event if they leave. At least you're not stranded. Work doesn't come to a standstill, and it's there. So keep that in mind. What kind of compensation and benefits you're going to give today? We are telling people you can work from home. So what kind of compensation and benefits? If we're just going to look at the Employment Act and say you've got 7 days leave, 14 days leave, 21 days of medical leave, 22 days of medical leave, and this is all you have. This is what you start at. It's not lucrative anymore already. So you'll be surprised. I have spoken and interviewed candidates, and I've asked them what are they actually looking for in terms of compensation and benefits. Some have told me they want gym membership. It's interesting that some people are actually talking about gym membership. Does the company actually pay for gym membership? It doesn't cost much, but they're looking their needs and wants are different. So we must be prepared to entertain all these things as well. They don't really value medical benefits. I don't know why. Perhaps maybe some of the older ones, yes. The younger ones, not really. They don't see the value in paying for insurance and all those things. So here you go. You've got other things. All right. Some may even tell you not to contribute to EPF and SOXO if you're taking them in full time. Please be mindful of this because it's punishable by law. Okay, you will get into trouble. So don't do this kind of things. The compensation and the benefits part, whatever that is due to them, you have to ensure that if it's in accordance with the law, follow and pay out accordingly. Some critical skills. Okay, I don't think it comes as a surprise for us today that um, language skills, language acquisition, this in itself is a gap today. We get people who can't communicate, who are struggling with communication. You ask them to write an email, they are struggling to send out a text message. They don't really understand what they're sending out also. So I'm just giving you an example when it comes to language. There's lots of other critical skills. Um, you Even if you were to look at critical thinking skills, a lot of them don't have it. I mean, a lot of people who are much older also don't have critical thinking skills. They are unable to discern. They're unable to see what is creative thinking, what is critical thinking. All right. Most of the time, both of it gets misconstrued, and it turns out to be something else altogether. So please look at it. If it's within your organization, if you have people working for you, you may want to start analyzing to see where these gaps exist, okay, and what you can do to bridge those gaps as well, okay. Now, some talent management initiatives, if you are looking at the success of your organization, okay, maintaining individual identity, all right, recognition and rewards, giving them opportunities, all right, giving them opportunities. The role, what kind of roles do you want them to play? Today, even though we employ them, it can be anyone for that matter. The roles that you actually, hang on, the roles that you actually design for them based on your organization's needs and wants. Sometimes it may be a misfit. They may not fit. Also be this: are you going to adjust the role, all right, or are you going to accept them and make adjustments? I don't know, because it depends on you. Okay. And then we talk about job rotation as well. Move people if you can, please move them, give them various tasks to do. I'm telling you this also because, again, it's a generation issue. If you're taking in interns, hi Diana, welcome. All right. If you're taking in interns, youngsters, they need to have variety. All right. They need to have variety. They need to be rotated. So move them, teach them, make them experience doing this, doing that. You'll be surprised how much they can teach you in making your job easier, because I know this from experience. Even with me, there are times in the past where I have been doing things in a certain way, and I've taken in interns, even junior roles, junior staff I've taken in, and they've told me there's a better way of doing this, a simpler way of doing it, and they have come up with new ways, new systems to use it. So you must be open to accepting that as well. If you are negative about it, you won't grow. The organization, your company also will not grow. So be receptive to these things, train them, look at development as well. A lot of employers, I've spoken to a lot of smaller companies as well, and I asked them, why is it that you don't send people for training? Why no development? They say if we send them for training, they leave and join some other company. Now, you can't keep people forever, but as long as they are with you, make sure that they are trained and they are developed. Okay. If they decide to leave, that's their choice. But at least you've done your part in training and developing them. Right. But I think if you've done it right, they will remain. Okay. Succession planning, again, you know what it is. I mentioned it earlier. Flexibility. How much flexibility is flexibility? How much of it can be accepted? How much of it you can tolerate in terms of flexibility? Today, we are also talking about flexible work hours and, flexi work from home. Working has changed. So you need to also be mindful of what flexibility is about. Relationship management. Um, I think we all would like this to happen. We want to be treated as part of the company, as your contributions are recognized, and if it's more of a family atmosphere, to be part of the family, not to be excluded, right? And of course, self motivation. Why self motivation? I think all of us we have to be motivated in that sense. I'm not a great fan of this motivation, self-motivation thingy and all that, because I think we motivate too much. I'm more interested in transformation. My interest is more on transformation. You can motivate and motivate and motivate, but if people don't want to transform, it doesn't benefit anyone. So if you're taking them through a self-motivation program, or you're doing some motivation for them, make sure that it changes, and and it becomes some form of transformation. You see changes, positive changes taking place. All right, so be mindful of this as well. So what benefits do you feel that if you have talent management for your organization, you have your vision mission, to a great extent it can be accomplished. Retaining the finest talent. Okay, the finest talent. Some people stay with certain companies for a very, very long time. I know of some SMEs, some of the people have worked there for 30 years, 40 years. You ask them, why is it that they stayed? These were not big companies who didn't offer them much anyway. Why did they stay? A lot of them stayed because they were treated well, all right? And they found a lot of peace coming to work. They found the most important thing, I think, I also believe they felt a sense of ownership towards the company, which is a plus point. So if you're going to retain talent, these are things that you will need to look at also. Strengthening the company's human capital structure. Um, as you grow, perhaps maybe now you don't have staff, or maybe you already have. You want to know how to actually strengthen this. Look again at your human capital. All right. See what motivates people. Um, of course, today, if you are thinking of having a family day and stuff like that and all that, tak jadi. But simple things that you can do for them. I know I still do it for the staff who, the management company that works for my condo. If they perform well on the job and there are certain initiatives that they've taken, they've done the job is well done. We actually, some of us take turns. We order KFC for them. It's a treat. These little things actually strengthens their interest and more initiative. It's not bribery, yeah, so please don't misunderstand that. It's not, but I think it's recognizing their initiative also. um you are, of course, you are out there, you're competing, you've got lots of competitors, so you definitely want to succeed over your competitors. So get the right people in also into your organization. These people will also help you to build your company's reputation. Of course, we get some who will come and destroy it also. All right. When you send them off, don't get into bitter arguments and sending them off, because it's very easy to spoil your name outside. Very, very easy to spoil your company's reputation outside. So if you send them off well, um, you've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Better decision making. Of course, I think if you move along, if you obtain the right people also, imagine, I know that I've worked for companies as well, even after my Form 6 and all that. You get bosses coming and talking to you and asking you, what are your thoughts on this? And you'll be thinking, oh my God, I'm just 20, 21. Why is this guy even asking me for my thoughts? The truth is that they see something in you that you have not seen in yourself. So this is all important. Okay. And we're looking at efficient and effective performance. I don't know about the efficiency bit, because I'll just tell you, today efficiency is very subjective. Okay. And even effective also is very subjective. That's why even when I tailor programs or when I do stuff, um, the question of efficiency is always there. What is efficient? Is it doing the job right, or doing whatever that I've given you and just accomplished it? Does that mean you're efficient? Or do you have the habit of walking the extra mile? These are questions that I would seriously ask myself, and I would prompt you to ask also. The habit of walking the extra mile. Okay, and effective performance. What is effective? How would you actually rate effective? in terms of the performance, how will you rate